What's going on, guys? How's it going? And welcome to a special video where today I'm going over a few of the hands that I played at the Live at the Bike I just recently played and talking a little bit about the decisions that I faced and what I thought about them at the time. I would love to hear what you guys think about how I played these hands down in the comments below because there's different approaches, depends on our opponents and stuff, so I'd love to have that discussion with you guys. So the first hand here, we have Pocket Jacks. I'll just be talking a little bit through the hand and I'm sure my video will be overlaid into it. So I have Pocket Jacks, and I decided to just call pre-flop with my Jacks for a couple reasons. One, there's some very loose players in the 9 seat and the 1 seat. So I'd like to get them involved with a premium hand. They've been squeezing with hands like Jack 5, right? So having Jacks against an opponent like that and playing a huge pot is a great thing. And number 2 is that Nicole actually raised from under the gun. So I didn't want to get in 200 big blinds or play this massive pot against an under the gun raise because I thought it would be very, very strong. So those are the reasons I decided to call, and we'll continue on from the hand here.
Yeah.
5 players.
So 5-way action here. I'm going to commentate and do a selfie picture at the same time. Uh-oh, look at Israeli Ron. He flops the nuts, and Jamie has an overpair.
So the flop comes deuce 4-6, which is an interesting flop for Jacks. This is a nice flop when we're heads up. When we're 5 ways, it doesn't feel so good, especially when we have some players that can actually hit that board, make some 2 pairs, make some straights, and we do see Israeli Ron has a straight. I, of course, don't know that. So I decided to bet here because I think there is value to be had from the Jacks that I have. 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s can call me, 6x can call me, diamond draws can call me, ace high can call me, tons of things can call me. So I think it's a good idea to bet, get some value, and then also charge people to pay to complete their draw or hit an overcard, etc. So I decided to bet 100 into 125.
It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. He's been making kind of all the right decisions.
So we have Israeli Ron call and we have Gil the Plumber call, who are the 2 aggressive players that I was mentioning before as to why I called pre-flop. And you can sort of see that with the hands they have, right? Israeli Ron has 5-3, Gil the Plumber has 9-6. I wish they would have squeezed pre-flop. Immediately I'm worried. The fact that Israeli Ron kind of just flicked in 100 there. I didn't think it was very likely he would do that with the 6. So it's a bit of a live read in that I think Israeli Ron has quite a strong hand. I'm wary at this point.
Wow, and Gil the Plumber just so Ron slow plays it here. He does not raise.
Check.
It's a diamond, it's a flush draw board. And Jamie checks the turn here. Very interesting. So he bet the flop. He got 2 calls.
Hey, you caught me.
And now Ron is just going to pot turn. He bets 400 here on the turn.
So on the turn, an 8 of clubs comes, and that's not a very good card for me. 7-5 gets there, hands like 6-8 get there, 4-8 suited, deuce 8 suited, whatever. It doesn't really help my hand. It isn't an overcard, but it is hitting some of the small things that I could decide to call with. I didn't think that Israeli Ron would choose to bet a hand like a 6 in this situation if I checked to him. So I thought I was going to be pretty safe. If he bet, it's likely he had the best hand. And if he checked, I probably had the best hand going to the river. Could either catch a bluff from Gil the Plumber or value bet myself and get a call from a worse hand like a 6 from either of these 2. So as we see, Israeli Ron is going to bet in this situation and bets quite a large size. 400 on the 8 of clubs turn. I don't think Israeli Ron has it in him to throw a bluff out like this. And what sorts of hands would bluff like this? It would have to be a diamond draw, something like that. I don't think too likely. So yeah, I just decided to fold the turn. Effectively, we're going to be playing for stacks most of the time. If I call here on the turn, it's going to be really difficult to fold on a river card. So basically, I don't think I'm good often enough. I just decided to fold. What's up, guys? We're back with another hand. I'm going to overlay a bit of commentary over this very interesting hand where I play Ace-King in a very unconventional way. Would love to hear what you guys think about this one as well in the comments. So let's get the hand started.
So this is the first time here. Look, Wendy's going to raise it up with Jack 10 suited here over a couple of limps.
Jaime just calls. Or, is that right? You just call?
Yeah. Jamie Stapes.
So we start with a pretty interesting situation here in that Gil the Plumber limps for 10, and we see Wendy who raises it up to 50 over that 10. Now, I don't know anything about Wendy. This is the first time I've played with her. It seems like she's playing pretty tight thus far. So I have Ace-King in an interesting situation. One, I want Gil the Plumber to play. If I re-raise Wendy to, let's say, 150 or something like that, I could force out Gil the Plumber, and he's an action guy in the game, right? I want to play pots with Gil. So that doesn't seem great. And then also Wendy seems really tight, you know? We're talking about live poker here. I don't know which people are capable of bluffing and which people are just value betting. So with that, my ace-king, I prefer to actually call here pre-flop because I think that keeping Gillen is good, and we're not sure on Wendy. So I call.
It's funny because I did a game where Jamie Staples was playing 2550 on Poker Night in America, the Twitch game in 2015. Oh, and Ryan's got pocket aces.
Wow.
And he's going to 3-bet here to 205.
So now we see Ryan squeeze this pot up to a pretty significant size, 205. Now, it's sort of the same situation here in that Ryan is going to know that Gil's in the pot. He's going to want to keep Gil in the pot, so he's going to be a little bit more likely to want to call than squeeze. I think it's really unlikely that Ryan is bluffing in this situation with Wendy raising, seemingly pretty tight, me playing pretty tight, deciding to call in position against that raise. I don't think Ryan has very many bluffs in this situation. I'd be surprised to see Ryan have ace-queen in this spot being so deep. I think we're going to see ace-king. I think we're going to see jacks plus, and that's it. So with my ace-king, I'm doing okay. Like definitely worth continuing, but I don't really like getting it all in against Ryan here because I think it's such a thin edge. It's just not great.
Now, this is interesting because it's back over to Wendy. She doesn't have absolute position because Jamie Staples is in there, but I know that
Jamie's going to ship it here. He doesn't have that much left.
Well, he flatted. I mean, it's almost like he was slow playing. Like, you might see a back ship here. I think you're right.
When it gets back around to Wendy, Wendy actually decides to call on top. So Wendy calls, and my original read about Wendy having a tight range is like, okay, I almost wanted to fold. That's what I was thinking about pre-flop. I was like, should I just fold in this situation? Now, it ended up that Wendy had a wider hand that I would have thought, Jack 10 suited, which I think she played it great. But Ryan did have a very strong hand, which sort of confirmed my read that it was going to be very nutted range.
As played, I would for sure just get it all in here.
Yeah. Oh, he calls. Wow.
So he called, and he's got 500 left. This is interesting.
Yep. Oh, and Wendy flops the gin.
Wow.
So I elect to call, and the flop comes terrible. For me, queen 9-8, and I just have to fold to a bet from Wendy. So that's my decisions, but I'll let the rest of the hand play out so you can check it out.
Wendy, I was just going to say, Wendy is a subscriber to Crush Live Poker, and she's also a subscriber to the top section, to the professional level, where we go over a lot of these pre-flop situations and what hands you should defend with. And it doesn't surprise me that she called 3-bets with Jack 10 suited, and she flops stones here.
So they're pretty deep. Ryan
checks
could potentially get away from this at some point, just because a queen 9-8 flop really drills
raise call range.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, you wouldn't expect to be up against Jack 10 necessarily, but for sure, like 9s, 8s, and queens would all be in that range.
So Ryan check calls the flop. Wendy now with a spade draw and Jack 10. Pot is 1140. And look at so there's
Ryan can never fold here.
So there's about a pot size bet left here, Brad. I hope she sizes down maybe 500.
I just don't see how they don't get it all in at some point. Probably on the river.
Well, he always has something here, right? He's got ace queen as a minimum of check calling the flop, right?
Yeah.
She bet 640 on the turn. So if Ryan calls the pot,
he has to call river.
The pot's. I mean, he just might get it in here because I mean the pot's going to be so large.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, what a crazy fold this would be if Ryan check folds turn with aces.
I don't think you can.
It would
so he check called flop?
Yeah, he check called flop.
Yeah, once you can never, I don't think you can ever play it this way and fold here.
I think he's concerned, though, because Wendy is relatively nitty, and I don't think that Wendy would go. I think what he's thinking is Wendy wouldn't go for two streets like this with just one pair that's worse than aces. I mean, is Wendy really going to go bet with ace-queen here? I think ace-queen checks back the turn a lot. Yeah, and it's awkward stack sizes because if he calls the pot's 2,500, there's only 600 left.
Right. So he's gonna get 5 to 1 or
so
something.
he could just basically jam, and you know, it's just one of these spots where it's like the pot's gonna be so big anyways. She only has half. You know, she basically has in her stack what her bet is here on the turn.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really tough spot.
People in the chat saying easy fold. Come on. Give me a break.
I mean,
There's no front door out there.
I think it's just so hard to go like check call, check fold with aces after 3-bet. I don't know.
Oh, but you gotta eat this one. I don't like green. I'll eat the next one.
People are saying, what does he beat? And I get that.
And he's all in.
Yeah.
No.
And Ryan is drawing stone cold dead. Stone cold dead here.
Now I have a flush.
River is a 7 of spades. She makes a flush now.
What's up, guys? All right, so we are here for the last hand. A very interesting hand where I elect to put in a move, and we'll see if it works or not. So I wanted to talk through a bit of my decision making.
So Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, you can watch live at the bike. And if you missed the episodes, want to watch them again on replay, go to liveatthebike.com. And if you're a subscriber, you can watch as much as you want.
How's the weather in Canada? You said you played with Andrew last night, right?
Yeah.
Did he seem? Was he? Does he still have that same demeanor of kind of being a little quiet, more quiet side?
All right, so we have 5-5-10 going on, and the hand is going to kick off here with Andrew Neeme, raising it up to 35. Now, what I think is really interesting here is that Andrew is talking through this hand, and I think that makes it really unlikely that Andrew has a nutted hand. Now, of course, some people can balance, and they aren't going to be doing that, but it makes it less likely that Andrew has an aces, a kings, a queens type hand, and that's a super obvious and clear read that everyone's using. I'm sure Andrew is using that on other opponents as well. And if you look at Matt in this hand, he's kind of studying Andrew and what seems like looking into that for me. And hopefully the camera's going to catch it in a second, because Matt kind of falls victim to the same thing where he says something after he puts in a 3-bet here, which I think makes it really unlikely that he has a strong hand as well.
Yeah, he was. He was still pretty quiet at the table. I played with him a little bit at the end after he won I moved to his table again after he won his over 3K pot, and he was definitely in a better mood after he won that pot and had a lot more chips in front of him. His over 3K pot, and he was definitely in a better mood after he won that pot and had a lot more chips in front of him. But just folding and like losing hands, like yeah, he was not in a great mood. Like he just was quiet, kind of, and just a little frustrated. But he was talking to Brad. Brad was chilling behind him and hanging out. And, he was all right. But yeah, it's definitely. I'm sure naturally as a human, most people are gonna feel better when they're winning than when they're losing.
So that whole conversation you can see in the side of the screen there, and he's picking up the beer to take a drink. I mean, that to me is really unlikely that he has a very strong hand. And we pick up a very great hand to put in a bluff in this situation. I almost never bluff in this spot. But we have an ace blocker, and we have a hand that's not quite good enough to call, but we could turn into a bluff and a re-raise. So it ends up that we have the best hand with ace-10, but in a spot where we very rarely have the best hand. And I think it's a good spot for a 4-bet. So I'll let the rest of the hand play out.
Especially when you're just losing every hand. You know what I mean?
So Andrew opened at 35 here with Jack 10 off. Matt 3-bet to 110 with 8-6 suited.
Good job by Matt using his tight image and picking a good hand like this to 3-bet. But Jamie is going to cold 4-bet the button with ace-10 off. So a leveling war here. Matt picked a good spot to 3-bet, and Jamie picked a better spot to 4-bet. Wow. So this is Matt.
There's this guy.
And
Vaughn, Matt Vaughn, a YouTube vlogger, against Jamie Staples, a Twitch personality. Jamie Staples gets the best of it.
I was really excited to see Jamie playing this, because I've only seen him play, on in streams where he's mostly tournament.
Right.
And so when I saw that he was going to be in here, I was kind of surprised.
So that's it for the hands from Live at the Bike. Once again, you guys, I'll put a link down in the description if you want to check out the previous recordings. You can subscribe over there. I think it's an awesome show. I had such a great time playing, and I look forward to going back and playing again whenever it works out next time. It's just a lot of fun. I love playing live poker. So let me know if you guys like this sort of content. Any questions about the hands, thoughts on the hands, things you think I could have played differently, whatever you want, down in the comments below. I'd love to engage with you guys. But until the next video, we'll see you later.